right now I'm just going to show my way of dyeing fleece. And I use a very similar way of dyeing yarn as well, but I'm going to dye this fleece because I didn't want to do a third wash, which it needs a third wash, so it has kind of yellow tips right here. But the dyeing process, with a little bit of soap still left in it, because I didn't rinse it all the way out, will over dye these colors and give me a nice range of colors. Plus it'll actually get the rest of that out in the washing process. But this will create a type of resistance. The tips where the dirt is, or where some of the lanolin and dirt is, will create a resistance and won't take up the dye as much as the nice clean white parts. So you'll see a variation or variegation of color in these locks. So the first thing I did was go ahead and I put my water in my crock pot about halfway, and that will leave me enough space for my fiber and the vinegar, which is going to be my acid, which connects with my dye and makes the actually is the catalyst for the dye to take up into the fiber. If you find that the color of your dye is not exhausting from your water, and what I mean by that is that your water is not turning clear and the fiber is not taking up all the dye, you can add more of your acid, either vinegar or citric acid, and that will help it actually take in more dye. But at some point, if it doesn't take any more dye, it's because you have too much dye in your dye bath. So you would take that out and rinse it, and you could actually add more fiber, or you can add more fiber on top of what's already in the dye bath. So let's get this pre-mixed and we'll be right back. Just thought about something. It's probably a good idea to let you see what I'm doing with this vinegar. And it's not, I don't use a scientific method. A lot of people do, and that's great. I'm not a professional. I've been doing it a long time, but this is how I do it, and it works for me. So I literally just put a nice little glug in there. I don't go over the top. I don't try to make it to where I can really smell the vinegar really strongly, because I can add more vinegar. I can't take it away. But then again, you still need a lot of vinegar. But the more vinegar you have in the water, the faster the dye will strike. In other words, the faster it'll soak into the fiber and it may come out blotchy. So if you do it a little more gently, a little slower process, you'll have a more even color. So now we're going to go ahead and add this little bit of this fiber. In the powder form, it can be toxic, so it is always best to wear a mask and protective clothing. You don't want to get this stuff on your clothing or inhale it. Now this is brand new, so I'm going to take the dye off of here, and you'll see in the water how much dye comes off of here. And that's probably enough, but I'm going to add the rest of the lid of dye, and it should be good. I'll see after I get this in there. Mix it around. You see, I can see the very top edges. It's still kind of clear, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the powder. And really, it doesn't take much. That's more than enough. See what it's done to my fingers? So now I'll mix that around real good. And remember, folks, when you're dyeing with acid dyes, if you're doing anything other than a food-safe type of dye, as in perhaps your cake gels that you use for frosting, your Kool-Aid, the little tablets like this one is here from your Easter egg packets that you can get them for probably $1 or less on sale after Easter. These are great for dyeing. If it's not food safe and you're using these pots or whatever you're using, do not use for food. Make it dedicated strictly for dyeing. Alright, so now, not a whole lot, but we're about to show you how it goes. This is damp. I just finished washing this and spinning it fairly dry, but it's still damp enough to take up the water. If you put it in dry, it'll actually take longer to go down in there. You want it to be a little bit damp so it'll start taking up the dye. And even this spun out is still resisting going down in there because it's not really that wet. But you can already see how the dye is taking up into the fleece. Now we're just going to gently put that in there. You don't want to move it around a whole lot. You don't want it to felt. It's still going to felt if you're not careful. So not a whole lot of agitation because you already have heat, water, and the only thing you need is agitation. If you agitate this for a certain amount of time, it will felt up and you'll just have one big knot. So there's that. We're going to get a little creative and get another color to sprinkle on top. Okay, now I'm just going to tap a little bit of purple on top. Well, that little bit didn't work out, but I'll now take this and I'll streak it across. What you're going to find is that's a lot of dye. So I'm going to take some more fiber, add it in there, right on top, a little more acid, and we're going to smoosh that down. And you're going to see these colors bleed right on through. That purple is still pretty powerful, so we'll add a little bit more. Here's a little bit of and just keep layering it until I start to see that it doesn't look super, super dark, almost black. You're starting to see the color itself. So we'll put that in there like that. Add a touch more acid and a touch more water so that we have a good saturation. And we will leave this to simmer. And I have this crock pot on high, but this isn't a really, really powerful crock pot. This will never get to a point of boiling. You don't want your fiber to boil. So we'll let that sit there, and we'll come back in about an hour to see if it's exhausted.